And then a golden lampstand, or a candle as they call it. And this lampstand had 7 lamps on it. And it was adorned I'm trying to remember the tree. Almond tree. Adorned as an almond tree, which buds very early. And so that lampstand was put in there, and it was lit, and was always kept lit with 7 lights. I wonder what that lampstand represented.
The 7 spirits of God.
7 spirits of God. And who has the 7 spirits of God? Jesus. Jesus again. And it's told to us in Revelation, the Lamb. The Lamb slain from the foundation of the earth that had the spirits. And other things were put in the tabernacle. And then there was an outer court. And in that outer court was an altar. And that altar was not made of any cut stone, but made of stone taken from the earth. For God said that any cut stone would be polluted. So all these temples and all these pyramids and places of high places of worship that the other nations went after, they were all the cut stone. And they were all a polluted sanctuary. But God fashioned the earth, and He made all the elements of it, and He would have man bring his own uncut stone and build an altar out there. And in that outer court, that's where the offerings were made. The lamb offerings, the dove offerings, the bull offerings, the goat offerings. And who would that outer court, who would that altar represent?
The cross.
Where was Jesus crucified? Was He crucified in the temple?
No.
He was crucified in the outer court. Matter of fact, even in the area of the Gentiles almost, where to show that He really was to bring all into reconciliation with God, Jew or Greek, it didn't matter, but all under one nation before God. So these were the instructions, and Moses had this all done. Now pick it up in Exodus chapter 36, verse 1. And that reads, and then run Bezaleel and Aholiab, and every wise-hearted man in whom the Lord put wisdom and understanding, to know how to work all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary, according to all that the Lord had commanded. Let's give this a little thought. Let's see now. Israel had been slaves in Egypt for 400 years. Slaves. They were not engineers, doctors, politicians. They were slaves. They had been made to make brick with their feet without even straw in the last days before God rained His judgment on Egypt. They came out of Egypt with all these gifts from the Egyptians and their firstborn intact into the wilderness, and they traversed the wilderness. Even their shoes didn't wear out off their feet, but they were there many days. And they meet God at the mountain, and God gives them the commandments and the instructions of life, and request, build me a sanctuary. Well, who was qualified? Who had that expertise? Who knew how to put fabric together like that, and make loops like that, and build tables out of shittim wood, and who knew how to put gold and silver on top of the wood, and do all these things, all this construction, and with the precise measurements that God would require. It required God to use His Spirit to make man understand and make them able to perform His work. And so when the sanctuary is required, God pours out His Spirit, and He brings forth workers and supervisors to get the job done. And that's who these men were. Reading in verse 3, they received of Moses all the offering which the children of Israel have brought for the work of the service of the sanctuary to make it withal. And they brought yet unto him free offerings every morning. The offerings were so frequent and so great that in verse 6, Moses had to give commandment to stop the offering. No more offering. God more than plenty to complete this work. So Moses gave commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, let neither man nor woman make any more work for the offering of the sanctuary. So the people were restrained from bringing it. You know, it puts me in mind of the work that we undertook here. Because in our hearts we all decided that we want to have this place for God, where we could be with Him and fellowship with Him and meet with Him, study His Word, offer our prayers up, offer singing to Him. And I look at the Spirit that moved in the congregation to bring what they had to accomplish this work. The work of their hands, their talents, their abilities. You know, you just look around the room. There's your group. Plus Wayne, who's with us. And you see those who... Do you see any people here that you would think are drywall sanders? Look at, who would you pick out as the drywall sanders in this room? Boy, that's a job. I never liked drywall sanders. That's got to be, of all construction, that's got to be one of the worst parts. I'll build a frame. I like putting a frame together. I don't mind hanging the drywall on the frame, even taping it if I have to, putting the mud on. But when it comes to sanding, man, leave that for the woman. Leave that job for the woman. Thank goodness Brother Kent was supervising that day. And he got some people on it. But no, I saw Sister Lorna and I'm not gonna name names, but here we have all these sore wrists going home and sore backs and sore necks, and it wasn't mine. You know, and willing to do all these things. You know what? They don't even do it in their own home, but they do it in the Lord's house.